What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Lockdown 23-1. And today we're going to be talking about something that's becoming quite popular in the news lines with certain situations, certain people, and that is segregation. All right, can you do all of your time in segregation? Can you choose to say, hey, I'm terrified for my freaking life, dog. Put me in solitary confinement. Can you do that? Because believe it or not, individuals that are out on bond, they know they're going to jail. This is going through their mind. They're like, you know what? I can't handle general population. I can't handle it. All right. The first thing I'm going to do is try to figure out how I can do all of my time in segregation. All right. And some people do. But let's break it down really quick. First of all, let's go ahead and read something from the prison reform list. It basically outlines everything that you should be getting in segregation. You should be getting. That's what I want to talk about first. And then we'll talk about, can you do that? Can you spend all your damn time in the hole? The answer is yes and no. All right, it depends. We're going to talk about it. But first, this is what you're supposed to receive in segregation. Prisonreformtrust.org is where I'm reading this from. All right, segregation. What is segregation? Segregation is when you are kept apart from other prisoners. The governor decides if you should be put on segregation or not. The governor, first off, the governor, I had no idea the governor had to decide. You may be kept in another part of the prison called the segregation unit or wing. You may be kept with other prisoners who are also on segregation and may have to stay in your cell for longer than other prisoners. Okay, so that's what segregation is. All right, you're separated from the main line, from all the regular individuals that are out there doing their thing in the mix, whatever. Now, when they said the governor has to make the choice of whether or not you go to segregation, I mean, unless there's someone in the prison system, like in that prison that's literally called a governor, I'm just going to take this as the governor of the state at whole, but I'm sure they probably have someone that has the powers or speaks on behalf of the governor and decides whether or not they should be put into segregation. I don't know, but from what it says here, the governor has to decide. Why would you be put into segregation? Okay, there's only two things. Either you're disruptive, it says discipline-wise, or for your own interests, own protection. Okay, and you can't just choose that on your own. Say, oh my God, I'm gonna get jumped every day, y'all. You gotta put me in segregation, okay? It's not gonna work like that. It's not. The only time that people put you into segregation along these lines, like for your own self-interest or your own protection, is usually with high-profile cases. High-profile cases, you're famous, or you have some crazy charges and they know that you're going to get got as soon as you hit the main line. Okay, that's the only way that they will willingly, without your permission, put you in there for your own safety. Now let's move on to something really serious. What you're supposed to get in segregation. Check this out. It says these people visit segregation unit every day, and it has it written in bold letters, every day. All right, a prison officer. Yes, you will see a prison officer. Probably 99% chance if you're in segregation, you'll see an officer at least once a day. Okay, that's just how it is. And not to mention the nurse with all the med calls. There's probably someone in segregation that takes pills and the nurse has to come over there. And that's what inmates hope for, when they're in segregation. They're like, nobody in there takes pills. And then this crazy guy comes in, he takes pills. We're like, yes, there's going to be a nurse rolling through. But it says every day, okay, a prison officer should be seen. Okay, I could go for that. Every time I was in segregation, whether it was for months at a time, I saw an officer at least once a day. All right, I'd go for that. A doctor or nurse. You're going to see that every day? Hell no. You ain't going to see no damn nurse. It says that they're supposed to come check vitals on here every 2 days. That shit does not happen, ladies and gentlemen. The only time you're going to see a nurse or doctor come in there is if someone's cutting themselves or they need meds, okay? Or you went about 30 days in the hole. Then they might bring the nurse in to do, check your blood pressure and stuff, check your vitals. All right, that's the only time. So that's wrong right there. A doctor or nurse should be there every day. That's incorrect. It does not happen. Okay, at least in the prisons I've seen. And I know in a majority of prisons all across the country it doesn't happen. Last but not least is a chaplain. Okay, let me tell you this. The only damn time I've ever seen a chaplain in segregation is when someone's loved one has passed away. That's the only time. I've never seen a chaplain just run up in there and check on these dudes to make sure that they're doing all right, or just to hand out some Bibles. You know how many times I went to the hole or segregation, whatever you want to call it, and just wish I had a Bible? And I put in request form after request form for a Bible. I never got it. It says a member of the chaplain team must visit prisoners in the segregation unit in the health care center daily. Doesn't happen. It also says you should get a minimum of 30 minutes in the open air daily. Okay, 30 minutes in the open air. That means you're supposed to breathe open air. Okay, some places they have dog cages, of course, you go outside, but shit, just being in some of the cell blocks I've been in, I ain't smell no fresh air for 9-10 months. And I've also been in other holes, and look, I say hole because over here in Virginia, the hole is segregation. The hole is the shoe. You know, there ain't like 3 different units. Segregation unit, hole, shoe, whatever else you want to call it. There ain't, look, it's one unit in Virginia that holds all these names together. And I've been in many of these, you know, and sometimes they don't come around for 3 or 4 days to let you out for your little 30 minutes of fresh air. It says you can also have educational/employment on segregation. There may be education or employment that you can do while on segregation. There is none. I haven't seen any of that, all right? It's hard enough to get a job in prison, period. In prisons I was in, you got to have at least 10 years sentence just to get a damn job. And then when you sign up for it, it's going to take 5 years for them to go down the list and get to you. By the time you're picked to go work a job, you're about to go damn home. You ended up slinging dope because you were waiting for that job for 5 damn years. You're slinging dope in the prison block. Now that I've broken down segregation and showed y'all some things that you're supposed to get, but chances are you won't, let's talk about the root of the message here, all right? Can you choose to stay in segregation your whole bid? Do you have the choice? You do not have the choice, but you have the ability to do it, all right? Believe it or not, you really do. Everyone does, you know? It's just that the majority of people don't want to go to segregation. They'd rather be in GP, you know, unless, you know, you're scared of something. That's about it. But in Virginia, okay, in Virginia, and I know it's not like this in the feds. The feds do not comply with this rule. And any prison or jail that is paid by the federal government should not follow this rule. But some do, all right, and that is cutting your hair. I've seen so many people in Virginia prisons doing time in segregation for years upon years because they just don't want to cut their damn dreads. And for real, the majority of these guys are true Rastas, you know, and that's against some kind of religious belief that they believe in. And these guys will sit in a hole, you know, they'll have all their privileges, they'll have canteen, stuff like that. I remember the Rasta guy when I was in the hole in Greensville, man, he had everything. You know, he was the one that was conducting all the business back there in the hole because he's been there for years and he's allowed to have everything that you're allowed to have when you're not on segregation. But that is one way that individuals end up doing their time in the hole. They will refuse to cut their hair or they will refuse to lock down. Now look, refusing to lock down can be dangerous. It can be dangerous. Your level is going to rise, increase, and you're probably getting transferred from a level 2 yard that you're on to a level 4 or 5. And you're going to be on 23 and 1. Now, you're still out in general population even though you're on 23 and 1. And some people, they just still don't lock down. No matter what they do, they will not lock down because that's their ticket to segregation. I mean, what are you going to do? If you're a CO and you see an inmate, he's not locking down, what are you going to do? You're going to forcibly throw him in the cell and lock it up? He's just going to do it again tomorrow. No, they strap you up, they put you in segregation, and that's it. They'll leave you in there for probably about 10 days and then try throwing you back out. And then when they get back to the block, they'll refuse to lock down again. Look, I've done this so many times in blocks that I did not want to be in because there was no gambling, all right? So I would just refuse to lock down. There was 2 ways I did it. If I couldn't talk to a lieutenant or sergeant before they locked us down, I would just stay out. You can't tell a CO, look, I'm not locking down, all right? The CO's going to be like, oh, whatever. He's going to go along with the procedure and say, lock down. And then they'll call a lieutenant or sergeant, whatever, and figure out what they want to do with the situation. But Sometimes a lieutenant and sergeant will make their rounds. And you can always tell these guys from everyone else. They're usually dressed different. They have more bars or stripes on their uniform. They just don't look like a normal CO, all right? And these dudes, typically when they came around, man, I would tell them straight up, look, if I didn't want to be in that block, and I didn't want to say, oh, I got an enemy in here, and they'll put me on an enemies list, and they'll get me out the block. That's how most people do it. You know, they'll be like, oh, man, this guy right here, even though he ain't giving them no problems, they'll just say, yeah, this guy right here, man, I'm scared for my life. And they'll put you on an enemy list. That guy will never be seen in the unit that you're in again. And that will screw you over time because you might want to get to, you know, wherever, the kitchen crew, floor crew, or whatever, some kind of job or a unit where your family member's at. And you can't because you're on a permanent ban to be around this inmate. Crazy, ain't it? Sometimes it don't work because people put so many individuals on their enemy list that sooner or later they're going to be put into a unit with their enemy. So that is a route that I would never do. All right. So I would always tell the sergeant lieutenant, hey, look, man, I can't do my time in this pod. I'm not locking down, man. So either you can get me out of here now or we can wait till count time. And chances are they're going to lock your ass up right there. Be like, all right, man, I respect what you said. You're obviously a vet to the old lockup thing. All right, we're going to get you up out of here. And that's how I got out. You know, I would move from block to block just like that. Okay, it wasn't so much I wanted to go to segregation, but sometimes I had to go there first before I went to a new block. Individuals that cause self-harm to themselves, they always go to segregation. They're probably going to go to suicide watch first and then put in segregation. They just end up cutting themselves every damn day. They end up doing all their time in segregation because that's how they do it. So those are the three ways that I've seen individuals do time in segregation for a long period of time. Not cutting your damn hair, and that's not for every state. This is just for Virginia, and a lot of other states do it, but some don't. Especially the feds, they don't require you to cut your hair. All right, but number 2 is not locking down. Individuals that do not lock down for count or whatever the case is, they're going to the hole. They're going to segregation. And number 3 are individuals that cause self-harm to themselves. They will be put in segregation, shoe, whatever the case is. And every once in a while, I didn't count this as number 4 to stay in segregation because it doesn't happen like that in Virginia, but some places it does. Your charges, okay? If you have some crazy charges, chances are they might keep you in some kind of special unit or segregation just for your own well-being. But don't hope for that because it's very rare. All right, a lot of prisons and jails, it doesn't matter what your charges are, they're going to throw you in there with the wolves. So don't really lean on that one, my friend. And you know, one more thing before I read this story I want to talk to y'all about. It reminded me of a situation that I went through in segregation. It was pretty treacherous. But just to paint a picture on these segregation units and how different they can be. Look, in California, they got, only 10 to 15% of inmates are in general population. The rest are in a freaking segregation unit called SNY yards. I've never even heard of SNY yard until I started doing this whole prison channel stuff. Over here, we just call it the hole or the chute. And I'll tell you this right now, you're not going to be sitting in there for a long period of time. You're not. The prisons I was in, you're going to be in there for a week tops, and they're going to throw you right back in there. You know, they're not going to house you permanently because you're a dropout gang member. They don't care about that shit. You drop out of a gang in Virginia, the gang unit ain't going to give two shits. They're going to ask you for all the intel you possibly have. They might shoot some bullshit your way, but while you're in segregation, they're going to debrief you, take all the information and intel they need, and then they're going to throw you back into general population. Whether you're a dropout or not, you're not going to stay in segregation. All right? Maybe if you are some high-ranked leader, okay, but just your common foot soldier, okay, individuals like over there in California, they can say, yeah, I'm a dropout, I'm scared for my life. They'll go to a SNY yard, do the rest of their time there. It's nothing like that in Virginia. Nothing like that in a lot of East Coast prisons. They're not going to keep you in these places just because you're a damn dropout. It's not happening. So just take that into consideration, man. Segregation is totally different from one side to the other. You know, it just depends on the facility, depends on the staff, and depends on how, you know, everything's running in general population. Now, let me get to this story really quick. An individual from Cleveland, a man from Cleveland, sued the jail and won $50 million. Okay, Okay, they locked this man. They locked him up. They put him into a closet, a utility closet, and he ended up getting beat up and had concussions and had to have brain surgery because of this. He won $50 million. They locked him up, put him in a damn closet. When a search of the vehicle didn't turn up any drugs, Black alleged that one of the officers beat him and that he was later locked in a closet at the police station. I remember being in that room more than anything because I was afraid. There was no toilet. Black was forced to urinate in a locker. I didn't know if I was ever going to come out of that room. I didn't know anything. I banged on the door, yet the whole police station ignored me. Now, this man was locked in a freaking utility closet. Now, I have a story for this. Okay, I was locked up in penitentiary. I went to the hole, and this was in Deep Meadows. For anybody that's been to Deep Meadows in the state of Virginia knows and has went to the hole or segregation, whatever you want to call it, knows exactly what I'm talking about. All right, Deep Meadows. I got into a confrontation with the CO, and the CO said I had threatened their life. Okay, so they locked me up, shipped me off the compound. But first, they put me in the hole. Okay, and there's this hole was so tiny. Okay, it was like a 15-cell hole because this prison was actually a low-level prison, but it was receiving. So a lot of inmates weren't there for too long. Okay, a month tops, and they were shipped. So the hole wasn't too big. Just I'd say about 15 cells. And when you first go into the hole, there's this closet-like thing with a metal door with a bunch of tiny little holes in it. Okay, they shoved me into this closet. There was nothing to. I mean, it was literally the width of my body. Okay, it was a closet. That's it, with metal holes in the door. And inside this closet was the mop bucket. Okay, they left me in this damn closet before they gave me I could see the cells through the little holes. Okay, it was a closet, and there's little holes, and there's a hallway straight ahead, and there's the cells right there on each side. So I'm looking at these cells right here, hearing people screaming. I'm like, I'm screaming my damn self, snapping, banging on the door, get me out of this damn closet. And there's a damn mop bucket and mop in this closet. Okay, I'm sitting right next, I'm rubbing all over this freaking mop bucket. And for those of y'all that know, when you're in the hole, okay, if there's a mop bucket and mop in the hole, that shit is just treacherous. Okay, there's all kinds of filthy shit going on in the hole. I'm talking about the nastiest, dirtiest things you could possibly imagine goes on in the hole. So I'm stuck standing up, okay? I can't even sit down in this little damn closet for hours upon hours, rubbing all over this damn mop bucket. Unbelievable. Luckily, I wasn't beaten beforehand, but at the same time, I was stuck in a closet like homeboy. Maybe I should get 50 freaking milli. But anyways, to sum all this up, there are ways where you can do all your time in segregation. You're going to have one rough time trying to do it, and chances are it might not work, but some people do. They know how to work the system, and it is what it is. But chances are they're going to break you. They're going to break you and make you go to general population. And a lot of people that do about 6 months in segregation, they don't want to be there no more any damn way. They're like, man, I'll take my chances with the gang members. At least I got some kind of human activity. But if you get anything from this, okay, don't go to prison. Don't go to prison. If you're scared, don't commit crimes, ladies and gentlemen. And please do not think you are going to get what the prison reform says you're going to get in segregation, because you ain't going to get none of that shit, man. Maybe in some places, but chances are you're not. Hope for the best and expect the worst in all situations. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button. I got a lot more content coming your way. We got Dumbest Criminals of the Week. I've got so many stories to talk about, man. I got another interview. I got someone coming from Ohio that was a part of a gang that I've never even heard of. Okay, he's going to break that down for us. I've dropped that in a couple days. A lot of content coming your way, so please do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Do not forget to check out all the links in the description of the video. Add me up on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. I stream daily on Twitch, 2 streams a day. Go check out my Teespring page with all your Lockdown 23-in-1 merchandise. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, I salute to every last one of you who've been supporting me since the beginning, and everyone who's just now joining the Lockdown compound. And stay tuned. I might be doing a live stream tonight on a few stories. You got old Conor McGregor rocking old heads at the bar at the local pub. Might do a live stream tonight, ladies and gentlemen, so stay tuned. I'll keep you posted in the community section if I do. It's Friday. Y'all be safe, be easy, and stay free.